everyone. I'm Rachel Chiza, host of the Meet Your Author podcast, where we celebrate African authors and have bookish conversations. Today's podcast is powered by the British Council through its Culture Connects program. Today, I'm joined by Margaret Chideme from Zimbabwe, who I met during the Pija Literary Festival in Accra. And today we'll basically be focusing on her experience as a writer, as a publisher, but also we talk a little bit about her time in Accra so that you all get to hear about her reflections on that. Welcome, Margaret.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm fantastic. How are you? How is Zimbabwe?
I'm great. Zimbabwe is hot right now, but I'm fine.
Is it Accra hot?
Oh, no. It can never be Accra hot.
Okay, that's good to know because Accra was really hot, extremely.
It was so hot. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just pick it up on your publishing because you are a writer, but also you run a publishing house that is Lifeline Publishing in Zimbabwe. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so Lifeline Publishing is basically still in its incubation phase. I've had a lot of support with the British Council for that. Actually, in Zimbabwe, I'm in what's called the Value Creation Challenge, which is basically an entrepreneurship program that supports small startups in just setting up their businesses. So I made the top 10 out of about 500 applications, and this is how Lifeline was birthed. But basically, it came from the need for reviving just the publishing industry in Zimbabwe right now. I think we need to do something about it. I think there's a lot of burnout in the industry. Maybe we need a bit more innovation. So my goal with the publishing company is to really perfect that story.
That's amazing. It's so good to hear. I mean, I feel like Africa in general, there's need to do more for the publishing industry so that we build better structures across Africa. And we could link them so that then the book supply is easy, the supply chain for the books is easy on all the African countries.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, and congratulations on, the value addition, being part of the winners for the value addition competition.
Thank you.
I look forward to hearing about all the books that you publish and your publishing house.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm excited for it. I mean, it's really something that's touching on a passion for me. So I'm excited to see what I can do with it.
Okay. So I know that you've published a book called Fast 30, which is a collection of women's poems about love and lust, pain and abuse, womanhood, divorce, searching and rediscovery. Tell us why you wrote the book or why you took on the project, but also with the different women you've worked with to have their work in there. What was that like?
Well, First 30 basically is a passion project for me. It's a collection of different poems of basically my life experiences. I think the oldest poem in the book is more than 15 years. So I've always been a closet writer. Writing is really just like breathing for me. It's self-expression. So I've written for as long as I can remember. And a lot of the times I would write my poetry when something would happen in my life and I would send it to my best friend. And my best friend would keep them without me knowing she was actually collecting them. So after a while, I think after I went through my own divorce, I just felt a need to write a book and to just express myself and to share my life experiences with people. And so I took the poems I've written over the years and put them together and put it into this book. So really, it's like an autobiography, but in poetry form of my life. So it's basically all the poems I've written in the different stages of my life.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that your best friend kept them, because now you had something to produce a body of work. And what was it like simply putting it out and sharing it with the whole world? Because I know if you're working in private, that's work that's very personal for you, and usually it's not easy sharing it with the world. What has it been like for you putting it out, and then what's been people's feedback?
It was the scariest thing I've ever had to do, to be honest. I had to think it through a lot. When I thought of doing it, before actually publishing, every time I would have the thoughts come to my head, I would feel like throwing up with anxiety. You're not writing it for anybody to see it. It's very raw and authentic. And it touches on a lot of people, a lot of subjects that are very personal. So it was a very difficult process for me, if I'm to be honest with you. But because I felt like it was something bigger than me, I had no choice as far as I was concerned. That just told me that I had to step out of that fear and tell the story.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you did that. Because art is liberating. So, and writing, I found that writing is very therapeutic. And I lean to that at all times. I journal a lot because it lets me express myself maybe in ways that I wouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you've been able to publish that.
You may have to publish your journal one day.
Well, I don't think so. What's been people's feedback in Zimbabwe?
I was very worried about people's feedback because it was such a raw book. I did not even expect. I thought maybe people of my age group would be the ones to actually accept it more. I'm very young, although I won't say my age, but I'm very young. But I mean 40s and below, basically. I just thought it would be more of a contemporary young people's book. But I was very shocked to see that a lot of people who were older I actually got most of my feedback from people who were older, who were in their 50s, in their 60s. And that was very surprising to me. And even men, it's really a book based on a woman's perspective, based on my own experiences. So I really didn't think that men would relate to it. It touches a lot on, just being a woman in a society where she's very marginalized, and certain expectations are required from her, just the experience of the woman in an African society. So I didn't think men would relate to it. That really surprised me a lot. So I got feedback from, and I remember asking one woman who was I think she was in her 60s or something, why it resonated with her. And she said to me, you are saying things that we were never given the chance to say. Wow. Or we were never allowed to say. So this is why we actually resonate with this book, because we feel everything that you have experienced. And unfortunately, for our age group, we were never allowed to express it. So it made a lot of sense for me when they said that. But I've really gotten amazing feedback, and it's been fulfilling to hear that people resonate with it, and it's helped them to to go through certain things. Some people call me crying.
Oh.
A lot of people actually call me crying, and so it's been a fulfilling project for me.
That is amazing. I mean, congratulations. That's a writer's dream for people to interact with their work that way.
Yes, it
feeling
is.
to resonate with it, to find relevance in the work.
Yeah, it really is. That's what it's all about.
Congratulations again. That's really, really exciting. Now I'm looking forward to reading the book. Sadly, you didn't carry it too. Let's talk about the Pija Literary Festival, where we met sometime this month in October. Yeah. What was it like for you? Was that the first time you're attending the festival, or have you attended other festivals around Africa?
No, it was actually the first time for me. And it was quite an interesting experience. We do have events here, but not at that magnitude. So it was really the first time for me to be at somewhere that massive as far as its reach on people who are into writing, publishers, everybody who's in that industry all over the world. It was very inspiring to see, because I realized what's possible for us here in Zimbabwe as well. And I was inspired that Accra is the world book capital for 2023, which I found absolutely amazing. I mean, the experience really opened my eyes. And for me, I guess I went there, in as much as I went there as a writer, I also had the lens of a publisher.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see what kind of networks I could get from there, and just to kind of scan what's going on around Africa.
Yeah.
Concern. So I was really excited that the British Council made that happen for me. And it's really been a massive tool as far as just developing my own business is concerned.
Yeah. You had a session during the festival. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, I did. We had a reading session with two other ladies, and it was such an amazing session. We were
I can
just
tell.
sharing,
I mean, you're smiling. I can hear the smiling.
I have fond memories of that session, and you know how everything was set up. It was very intimate.
Yeah.
It wasn't intimidating. I didn't feel like I had strangers around. Felt like I was surrounded by, like-minded people. So sharing their poetry with me was it will always be a good memory for me, and the discussions we had. So we're just talking about our experiences as writers, the barriers we have faced, and then we also shared. We read from our books. So I shared two of my poems, To My Mother Bloom and This Woman Loved.
Mm-hmm. Are you able to read for us one of the poems?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
Let me do This Woman Loved. Seems like a lot of people love that one.
Okay.
Because maybe it's because it's about love. It's not too heavy.
Uh-huh.
So
and we love
just
love. So yeah, let's go with that.
We love love. We love everything to do with love. Okay,
Absolutely.
To give you a background of this poem, I had a dream one night, and I dreamt that there was this man who was professing his love for me. And as he was professing his love for me, he kept, I don't know, putting roses in my path. So there were roses showing up, white, pure roses. And they were showing up in my path as I was walking. I don't know how I can explain it in a way that you can visualize it, but I had white roses all over me, on the sides. Some were hanging from the sky, some were on the path. So I kept trying to take and pick up these roses and to hold them in my hands. But they were overwhelmingly full. There were a lot. So I could not contain these roses. And these roses were an expression of his love. So when I woke up, I woke up feeling very overwhelmed. It was like, okay, it was probably one of the best dreams I've ever had, because it was a very emotional dream where I could feel a person's love exuding through these pure white roses, and it was an abundant love. So when I woke up, I had the feeling to just write it down, because I thought, this would be an amazing way to be loved if every woman felt like this. This woman loved. I want to be loved. The love to feel like the wings of a bird. I want to be loved like the wind lightly whispers and blows on my face. Love me without ownership, and I will free myself to you. Submit to a king who rules without a fist, but with the love that loves and endures endlessly. I want to be loved by a love that frees me, that lets me float with no burden of showing my cracks or weakest points. I want to be loved like a kiss that caresses, that kiss that heals a broken wound, just like the kiss a mother gives the bruised knee of the fruit of a womb. I want to be loved by a man who loves himself, for if he does, he will love me more as I'm a part of him, his extension of his heart, external to him, rib of his rib, flesh of his flesh. I want to be loved by life itself. I want to be loved such that I have no question of the heart that loves me, an imperfect person to love me perfectly. Your true love will exonerate me. It will reveal me, see me, and honor me. So it does to me as it should to you. Show me how it's done. Teach me. Love me as I learn to love you. This woman loved.
That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for reading that. Now I see why people love it.
Yeah.
It has some amazing lines. Let's see, the ones that I noted down while you are reading. One, love with ownership.
Yes.
Powerful. I want to be loved by love that frees me. Ooh. Yeah. I mean, love should be liberating, right? It shouldn't define or try to control, but it should liberate and allow the person to float and be wholesome in every way.
Yes, you got it. That's the essence of the poem, pretty much.
It's so beautiful. I love it. I see why everyone else likes it too. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful poem with us. Is that part of your poetry collection?
It's part of the book, First 30.
Okay, so where can people find the book? If someone listens to this and they want to buy the collection and they're not in Zimbabwe, is there an option for that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's actually on Amazon, and I made an audiobook version of it, and the audiobook is available on Apple, on Script, Kobo, Google Play. It's on quite a lot of different platforms. So I'm also planning on putting it on more platforms this month on the 30th of November. I'm actually relaunching it with the publisher in Wales called Rowanville. Yeah. So they'll be distributing it on more platforms. So I'm excited about that.
That is very exciting. Congratulations. Tell us a bit about that connection.
That is so funny because this same connection is the same connection that inspired me to start the publishing house. So we had an exchange program last year with a delegation from Wales. And there was one who was representing Rowanville Books. So we just had to have a conversation. We got to have a conversation. So they were just looking and seeing how the industry is so much different than theirs. We talked about the different challenges that we've had in the industry. So we talked about just revamping the book and repackaging it and making it more accessible worldwide. And this is how I got into that arrangement with them. And while we're at it, we spoke about what we could do as far as improving the publishing industry in Zimbabwe. So they sort of were my how do I say, like the people inspired me to actually do something about it. And they were pretty much my mentors in creating this whole idea with the publishing house.
That's amazing. Congratulations, because now your book is moving borders. It's moving continents, not even borders. Yeah. It's moving continents.
We are holding a copy that they sent me on the hardcover, and it looks really amazing. So I'm very excited about that.
I look forward to seeing that. And you mentioned that you've also done an audio version of the book. What was that process like? Because I know, like, currently in Africa, that's virgin territory when it comes to books.
Yes. With the audio book, do you know, Rachel, I've just really been lucky with First 30. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a testament of when you actually just go past your fears and listen to that inner voice. Because when I launched First 30, I got into a different program called Scripts and Bars. So Scripts and Bars is also supported by the British Council, and it's run by organization called K Media. So basically, Scripts and Bars was more of just bringing together participants, writers, and musicians, and comic book artists to sort of like develop their skills to make sure that we look at our talents as a business. So through Scripts and Bars, I got support to create this audiobook. And that I was lucky in that sense that I got that kind of support, because most writers don't have that support. So that's how I create. It was a new project. I didn't know anyone who had done an audiobook. So I had to research through it, find how I could distribute it. I managed to distribute it on about 45 different platforms worldwide. So, but it's basically one platform where you upload it. It's available on all these other spaces. So the audiobook version was it was like writing the book again, because I had to read it through. I had to read the book on my own. At first, I wanted to have other people do it, but another person suggested, no, this is your book. It's your story. So you've got to read it. Was very worried about that, but it was quite an interesting experience, because, like you said, it's virgin land. I had to research a lot just to make sure I was doing it in a way that it could compete globally.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I'm going to go on Script, because Script is the app that I use for audiobooks, and look for Fast 30 listening. And I'm glad that you voiced
definitely it. There.
Yeah, I'm glad that you voiced it. The only other audiobook I've listened to that's poetry is by Asantewa Diaka from Ghana. She's also her book is called Woman Eat Me Whole.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love that title.
It's on Script, so I'm going to add yours so that I listen in. And I like it when writers voice their own work. It's sort of like an intimate affair. So I love it. Thank you
Yes,
so
yeah,
much,
it is.
Maggie. It's been amazing having you on the podcast, and just let people know where to find you on social media so that they follow you and check out your amazing work.
Okay, so on social media, on Facebook, I am Margaret Chideme, the author. And on Instagram, there's Margaret Chideme, the author, as well as Mags, MAGZ _ Chideme, CHIDEME. On TikTok, I'm Margaret Chideme.
It's been lovely chatting with you, and it was amazing that we met in Accra, and I hope we meet again on different festivals.
Well, we have to find a way to just revive this whole thing and make it. We shouldn't be strangers to each other. I think the African story is hot right now.
Yeah.
So we have to meet more often.
Absolutely. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Subscribe to the podcast and enjoy a bookish ride.